I don't really think, I mean, on YouTube, it does show that we're about to get ready to go, so people can see it and also on Facebook as well. So, but it's really cool. 206, we've been 206 meetings in a row. Reminds me of the old Stephen Wright joke where he's walking into a store that says, open, the sign says 24/7, and the guy's closing the store. And Stephen Wright says, hey, it says 24/7. And the shopkeeper says, yeah, but not in a row. But we've got 206 consecutive Zoomcasts behind it. So welcome, everybody, to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. We've got a bunch of friends in the room. Everybody will introduce themselves if they like. Just remember, everything you hear today is an opinion. Who knows where the show is going to go? So let's have some fun and welcome. Hey, everybody. So, Doc, who's got something to say? David, you had something you want to say?
Well, I just was going to show you guys the SMS mics and the brochure for them because it was such a unique idea. I mean, I forgot to mention that Martin Levan put them into his Andrew Lloyd Webber shows on Broadway. I mean, this was a really great miking system that didn't make it because it was just too much trouble. But the sound that you would get of these instruments, the warmth from having a microphone inside, the sweet spot of a violin or a cello was pretty amazing.
Do you remember what he called the? Would you remember what he called the microphones?
SMS. First of all, Sound Lab. Was it Sound Lab Electronics? Let's see. Page 1, brochure. Sound Lab Electronics. And then it was called the Symphony Microphone System. Symphonic Microphone System. That's what the SMS stood for. And they called it Wings for String.
Yeah. And so basically, for those people just tuning in, what he's talking about, I forgot the guy's name. What was it Herschel? Herschel. This guy Herschel, a few years ago, more than a few years ago now, was when Barbra Streisand was touring, came up with this idea to put a microphone inside.
Herschel discovered it because it was invented in Germany. And he found it and got the U.S. rights to it. Herschel was a viola player. And so, he heard about this great way of miking stringed instruments, and nobody in the U.S. knew about it. So he negotiated the rights to bring it to the United States. But this came out of Germany. That's why they had the Sennheiser mics in there. And it was an amazing.
Really cool. Really cool. But but of course, he had some pushback because you had to drill out a new pinhole.
No, there was no damage done to the instrument. The end pin is just a plug that holds the string, that holds the tailpiece, that holds the strings that go up the neck. And the tailpiece is where the bridge is. So when you take the bridge down and you take the tension off the strings, the tailpiece loosens up, the string loosens up, and you can just pull the pin out. And you can put the machine pin that they came up with that was hollow so that the microphone could go down the pin into the instrument. So there was no damage at all done to any of the instruments. That's why most of the musicians said, okay, as long as a professional luthier will work on my violin or my viola, I'll allow it to happen. So, but it still was a lot of work, and every instrument had to have a modification done to it. And then at the end, they put the pin back in and take the other one out. So, I did it for Broadway with Tommy Tune. I was the only, Martin Levan and I were the only two guys who have done it on Broadway. But, it was cool. Great. I have them sitting in my house because I don't know what to do with them. Claire Brothers.
Well, now, if anybody in the sound of our voice who needs some of these microphones, there you go. You know how to contact us. And you, of course, if you want to join the show, just DM any one of us. Everybody here's got the link to share. Hey, did you guys, anybody happen to see last week's show? Marvin, you were amazing. We love your new technology. Has there been any updates to what you've been doing since we spoke last?
Well, we're working on just more filling out the procedure, what we have to do. I spoke to Marty Garcia from Future Sonics, and he's been a member of this group apparently, and he's very interested in it, and he thinks it's going to be great. and we'll see how it works with him.
Oh, very good. Yeah, Marty's wonderful, wonderful guy. And Jerry Harvey also, I'm sure you're talking to Jerry.
No.
Not yet. Well, David could put you in with Jerry, right, David?
Harry is having health issues right now, so I don't think he's doing anything.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yes. Something like, I think his
Any-
wife, his website, and said he's got, I don't think it's
No, so-
meningitis, something weird.
Yeah.
He'll get back.
Well, you got to take care of yourself. You know, if you're dead, you're not good to anybody. But you know, that's all there is to it. You know, so stay alive. That's my advice for you today.
And my friend Rob spoke to Adi Nevis. He was the Shure product specialist up until 2 days ago. He just got laid off, but he's another one. He had worked with, I guess, Manny at Manny's and Alex on 48th Street once upon a time.
Yeah.
And
Hey, Fred, what is Joe's last name? I forgot. Joe over at Sennheiser.
Sardelli.
Yeah, he could be. He might be a really good lead for you, Marvin. He's a super. He's
I'll
a
drop
super
his info in the
knowledgeable guy.
chat.
Yeah, he's a super knowledgeable. Yeah, throw that information in. We could connect you to him. He's really he's a beautiful man, and he's super knowledgeable. He works on all the latest technology for Sennheiser, if I'm correct, right? I don't remember what his title is.
He's worked his way up to when I met him like 20 years ago. You know, he's the big guy. He's involved with all their R&D now.
well, that would be a good contact for sure. And I'm friendly with Robbie Scharf, if you guys know him. He was with Sennheiser. He was a top guy at Guitar Center for a while.
Yeah. And Kurt had asked John from Electrosonics to join the panel. Kurt is busy today. I think Chris is working with Electrosonics as well, and he invited John to come into the room, but John registered, but I didn't see him in the room. So these are all good people for you to know.
Yes.
That's the one thing, you know, we are is a fountain of knowledge of people that are involved in the world. I mean, and then you've got the electronic engineer wizard of Wayne Sims all the way from Wagga Wagga, you know. But of course, everything he does is upside down or right side. I don't know. Because he's in Australia. Can't be right. You know, that's it. You know, what was Dave? Or who knows that? Remember that restaurant, the Outback? No rules, just being right, or something like that.
It's still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, one thing that I did read about, and I was going to originally call this episode yesterday's news because last week I was so encaptured and enthralled with what Marvin was saying that I never got to any of the stories that I wanted to talk about. But then again, so now it's yesterday's news, you know. However, I'll bet you didn't know that. That's the theme of this show. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced their performers of the year. Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, and A Tribe Called Quest. Jimmy Buffett, MC5, Dionne Warwick. David, you work with Dionne Warwick, right?
Yeah, 1982 or 83.
And they're all yeah. And so they were nominated for Musical Excellence Award. So that's what happened last week. Yeah, that's where it's at. So and you know what all those people had in common? And I'm just guessing right now, but they all smoke marijuana. That's right. They all smoke marijuana. And if I'm wrong, just remember it's my opinion. But for 50 years, ever since I could remember, even more than 50 years, I know marijuana was always illegal, except for recently. And now the Justice Department is going to reschedule the drug classification. So it's to me, I waited all this time for that to happen, and then I stopped smoking pot. Unbelievable. Jesus Christ. How did that happen? You know? I guess I like being a bad boy after all, you know.
And the federal government is now proposing to reduce penalties for marijuana. And also talking about athletics, as you were, there was an article in the New York Times about taking a right dosage, and it actually enhances athletic performance.
Well, now are they going to test for that in the blood now? Is that going to be something that
No,
you're not allowed to do?
I don't think it's like steroids or anything like that, but just for casual people working out, people find that it's a combination of anxiety reduction and certainly pain reduction. So there's, but you have to know the dosage so you don't fall on your face, which is always
absolutely
nice.
Absolutely. So, so Kurt, what's the situation over there? What's going on, and what's going on in your neck of the woods?
In respect to what?
Anything you want to say. You know,
Oh, we loaded this.
I love your clever repartee. So I want to throw in some clever Kurt Hare repartee.
Well, I don't know what I got for that. We loaded the semi today for Bend. So that leaves tomorrow. I fly down there and get it all staged and meet with the client to start that whole thing. I know you're in Bend right now, aren't you?
Come on over.
Are you going to be there tomorrow?
Oh, I'm out of here in the morning.
I like the way you did the play on the words. I'm in Bend. Come on over. Bend over. Yes, that's it. Glad I was the one who picked that up, not you guys. Huh?
Yeah.
I bet you didn't know that. That's for sure.
And David,
So anyway,
I bet that picture is going to show up real soon. While Martin was talking, I saw all those little. Somebody captured that. I'll be willing to bet.
Hey, so what's for dinner tonight, Kurt?
I don't know. I gotta figure that out. Got any suggestions?
One of the highlights of my Facebook day is to see what Kurt's eating, you know? And so Bo, you know, here in Thailand, they love taking pictures of food. All the girls, everyone, all the women, they just take whatever they're going to eat. They take pictures and they post to each other, you know, whenever they go to a restaurant, whatever it is. And Bo loves to post these pictures. So lately, now that we've moved into this new house, I've been, you know, and we've got a really excellent Brown and Ziegler barbecue. It's a beauty. It is absolutely a beauty. It's one of those barbecues. It's propane, and it's got the metal grill on top, and underneath, it's got the I don't know what they're called, but they're like flame pads, and over the flame pad is a glass enclosure, so it just radiates the perfect amount of heat without it searing the food from the fire. You know, really a brilliant barbecue. So every night now, and it's an outdoor barbecue, of course, and we have an outdoor kitchen. And every night I've been cooking dinner instead of Bo. Bo prepares the food, and then I cook it. And it's so Bo says, "Well, you should post it to your Facebook page." And I said, "I can't. You have to post it to yours, because Kurt got that market covered."
It's all about the white plates. That's the whole.
There you go. We have
plain
black
white plates. Anything else, it's too distracting.
Yeah, we've got these beautiful black plates. I want to go out and buy white plates. Now you've talked me into it. You know what I can't find? I can't find the bread knife here. That's unbelievable. You know, can't find a bread knife. Who would have thought?
Serrated bread knife?
Not in Bangkok. Yeah. You can't find one.
Well, I'm not in Bangkok. I'm down here.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go to Bangkok periodically.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You know, now you've given me something to do when I go to Bangkok.
Then he's gonna fly with a knife.
A bread knife. You know.
Terminal 21.
Well, no, we don't drive.
Basement.
We fly. We drive. It's only 2.5 hours now by car.
Can't you just order one on Amazon?
They don't have it. Well, yeah, you can on Amazon here, but it's better to just their Amazon is called Lazada, Lazada, and everything on there is so cheap. It's frightening how inexpensive it is because it's owned by Alibaba out of China. So
couldn't you just have
some things you didn't know.
a local blacksmith, or I'm not sure what a knife maker would be called, but could somebody just make you one?
Probably. I probably could find a craftsman to go out there and make a bread knife. But it's, one of those things right now. I'm not eating bread, so it's not like a high priority. We're on a protein diet. We're on the Mediterranean diet. Bo came to me the other day and says, "Hey, I want to lose some weight." So, of course, I have to lose some weight too, which is a great idea. I love it. So, speaking of losing weight, it has nothing to do with losing weight, but just whoosh, Taylor Swift. Has anybody heard her, Dead Poet Society album?
No.
It's getting wonderful reviews. I've listened to it. To me, it almost sounds like every song is exactly the same on this particular album. It's all about her ex-boyfriends and her bad love relationships and stuff like that. But needless to say, this woman can't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong. The first day, it had 243 million streams, and she sold 1.4 million hard copies. I mean, that woman is making a shit ton of money. I mean, according to this article, just on the streaming alone, she's making $1.5 million a day just from streaming. That's unheard of.
12 of the top 14 songs on Spotify.
It's crazy. Hey, by the way, who here uses Spotify? Anybody use Spotify?
No.
Nope.
I use YouTube Music. I love YouTube Music. I think but yet it seems like YouTube Music is not as big as Spotify when it comes to music. But the thing that I like about YouTube Music, just an FYI, is that if you have YouTube Music, you also get YouTube with commercial free. So there's no commercial free. There's no commercials on YouTube for me. And I think that's worth its weight in gold because I watch a lot of YouTube video. What about you guys?
I use music wise, I use one called Django because on my phone it's free. If you listen to it on your computer, it's a paid service, but on your phone it's free. It's awesome.
Greg, what about you?
Occasionally Spotify, but I haven't gone for any of the ever since it all went to paid services. I used to do Amazon and Apple the same way, but not now, not anymore. I just pick and choose.
Were you a Napster guy? Were you a Napster guy, Greg?
Oh yeah, wasn't everybody?
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
Actually, I was actually in the Valley during all of that. So I was in IT during that whole craze. So it was quite interesting.
Were you part of the Valley of the Dolls?
No.
Oh, all right.
Harper Valley PTA?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. There you have it. There you have it. Did you personally know Twiggy?
No.
No, you didn't. You don't know what you're missing. Really, seriously, you don't know what you're missing. Kurt, what do you listen to on music? What's your music go to?
I use Sirius XM in the car. I try to avoid using any of that streaming services for walk-in music because it always fails. Like it's fine until the place fills up with 8,000 people and then it craps out.
Yeah.
I try to just make the tour give me whatever they want. I really stay away from that. I don't have any music that any of those people would want to hear anyway.
No. The interesting thing is that Scoville has on his Spotify, all these engineers are sending him their walk-in music list. Have you seen that?
Yeah, he's got old tapes from his Rush tour walk-in music and Petty, I think.
Yeah, Petty and even last year's Kenny show, he's doing it. So
yeah, but he's got other engineers sending him their playlist as well.
No, I think
he hasn't put those out there for general use. Maybe he's listening to them himself, but he hasn't put them out there for us.
Right. Right. Marvin, what about you? What music are you listening to?
I have
where
used
you get your
Sirius
music?
XM, and I work out to it. I just
Yeah.
put on the blues station, and away I go.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, Sirius, I was with Sirius for a while, because T-Mobile, my provider, gave it Sirius free for I think a year, maybe 6 months, and then I dropped it, and I get an email from them at least twice a week saying, for $5 a month, you could come back, and I said, no thanks. Actually, I think I'm paying $13.99 for YouTube.
I just added my truck I bought to my account because I'm going to have one car in Bend and one car up here, and I want them both to have Sirius XM. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. So, are you guys planning on going to see the Rolling Stones when they go back out on tour? I mean, these guys are in their 80s right now. They're going to do the Hockney Diamond Tour. They're going to do 16 cities, starting in Houston. Actually, it should have started. It started yesterday, the 28th of April.
Yeah.
Aren't they going to New Orleans?
Yep. I hear they're playing the Jazz Festival.
Yes.
They're playing here. I'm flying back from Bend after the first show to go straight to the show and see that, and then turn right around and go back.
I hear Mick is in phenomenal shape for 80 years old. I hear he's just bouncing around the stage like crazy still. But I haven't seen any reviews from the Houston show.
He's in great shape for way less than 80 too.
Oh yeah, I mean,
For the tour
he's an inspiration.
He runs and sings the show, so he'll run and sing to warm up and get ready, get conditioned to be able to do that all night long. That's how he trains for the tour.
Wow, that's impressive. I never thought, of all the people that are around and living today, I never thought Keith Richards would still be around. It's amazing.
Well,
I'm glad he is, but it's amazing.
You have to inject your father into your bloodstream.
Oh man, I read his book Life. It was about that thick. It was like 400 something pages, but I couldn't put it down. It was the most fascinating book about the music industry from his perspective, and I really felt that he was so honest about it. Reading it and knowing what I know, that it was just an honest, in-depth look at his life and music.
I felt like I probably had to go to rehab just from reading the book. But it was a great book.
Yeah, really, really good. Really, really good. So I know we shouldn't be talking about this, but did anybody hear anything about Pish? Is it Pish? Is it Fish? Fish. That played the Sphere? Anybody hear anything?
I had a friend who went, a guy that works with me in the summers, and he said that it was pretty swirly and strange for a while, and then they kind of turned off a lot of all that panning and spatialization stuff, and it got better. But they also had things like, I think the guitar completely went away for a while and came back in. There were mix issues. And I don't know how they're dealing with the latency. It's this that I just can't understand how anyone wants to do a live gig there.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said that they could move the stage back. I don't know. I haven't seen anything except the lighting charts.
It's still 90 milliseconds throughput latency. You can't watch the drummer and listen to 90 millisecond delay and not go out of your mind, if you ask me.
No, I would agree with you.
I don't know how there's a way around
much delay. That much delay it's got to be a challenge, for just the synchronization of the music, just amongst, just from the audience standpoint of view.
Well, that's
you're
why
not going to be hearing it.
It's got to all be ears. It's got to all be modelers. You can't have any live amps. The drummer has to be behind a sneeze guard. They do everything they can to keep any live audio from being in the room, but just visually, it would drive me nuts.
Yeah, but they never do the same song twice. It seems. I mean, that's what they're known for.
Any band playing. U2 had to give up all the regular guitar amps and all that stuff. And I'm sure Fish had to do the same thing, or, had them off stage somewhere. You can't have any live sound in the room.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's supposed to be Fish's deal. Is every night's show's supposed to be different.
Yeah, well, the Dead are playing there next, and that's the same thing.
They
Yeah,
gotta
I
play- they
can
gotta- they gotta
imagine
play
how
it.
they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Who was that again?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The Dead are going to play there.
Fish.
Oh, the Dead. Oh,
The
okay.
Dead too. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Dead, because when I think of the Dead, I always think of my experiences of going to see them, and the Allman Brothers usually always used to open for the Dead. Dickie Betts passed away. Dickie Betts, the Ramblin' Man. He died at 80, so he lived a good life. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry to hear him go. Well, that's the story. By the way, speaking of Dead coming back to life, NASA was able to connect, and this, Greg, this is right up your alley because you are the human mic shield for NASA.
For the Voyager.
For the Voyager, they were able to reach the Voyager again, and it's where is that story, man? It's 15 billion miles away. 15 billions with a B, miles away. Who's good with math? Who knows how many kilometers that is? Because it would probably be sound a lot further.
The funny thing is all the people who wrote the code for the Voyager have long since passed on. So in order for them to fix that, they had to go ahead and A, learn the code, and then B, figure out a way to rewrite the code 15 billion miles away and not blow the damn thing up. And they did it. I mean, people at JBL are some smart people. They are very smart individuals.
I had a conversation with someone. We were talking about math. And I never realized how important math was or what you could do with math until I saw the movie Oppenheimer. I mean, it's like I didn't realize that all of these people were mathematicians that did this.
Yep.
The world is safe with me around because I'm not good with math. I mean, I've got 3 calculators here, and
As
I'm
long as
lucky if I can.
As long as you don't balance your analog checkbook at the checkout line while everybody's waiting.
Oh my God, those were the days, weren't they?
It
Those
still
were the
happens.
days.
It still happens.
Really?
That and the coupons. I've been tempted so many times to be like, look, lady, I'll give you $5 to put all the coupons away.
Oh my God. Where do you go shopping there? Kmart?
It happens, Fred Meyer, QFC, whatever. Every once in a while, you got that person that's got to save 4 cents on bread.
Yeah.
Hold
Well,
everybody
speaking
up.
of saving money on bread, here's an interesting thing that we were talking about NASA. NASA now has so streaming and texting on the moon. If you get up to the moon right now, Nokia and NASA are taking 4G into space. They are now setting up cell sites on the moon. On the moon. Is that not? I mean, that's really science fiction, but now it's science fact.
Well,
Who's
the
planning on
great
going
thing
to the
is
moon?
no interference.
Yeah, probably not. They could probably get away. That's why they only have to do 4G. They don't have to go all the way up to 5G.
So I just saw something on the on the web today. The wooden round thing they call it the wall of death. They take the motorcycles and drive around. And they go higher and higher because the gravity keeps them from falling. They've discovered that astronauts on the moon can actually generate enough energy to keep up in the wall of death, and it gives them the best exercise. So that looks like it's going to happen in the future, in the near future, that they're going to build them a cylinder that they can run around and they run fast enough with the light gravity to stay up.
Well, they might as well build them a hamster cage then. There you go. They could be like hamsters.
No, you got to go this way.
Well, the good thing is if you drop your phone on the moon, you probably won't crack the screen.
Yeah, so you
True.
probably don't need a case. Ah, man, they're going to be losing money like crazy. There, unbelievable.
But if you drop your phone and a feather, they'll both hit at the same time.
If they hit it all.
Well, not at the same time. I wonder what the
Huh?
latency is going to be.
No, about 90 milliseconds.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
by the
fine.
way,
Fred, it's fine as long
I-
as you don't double assign the feather or the phone back to
yeah,
the.
that's it. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I found the article 75 plus. That's the fastest age group in the U.S. workforce, according to the Pew Research Center. Data shows more Americans are working well past retirement age for several reasons, including high costs and low savings. Forecasters expect cohort of workers age 75 to double over the next decade as retirement plans evolve away from pensions that encourage workers to retire by 65. So we're going to see that. Tell you what, that's one thing I will throw into the chat so you guys could look at.
That means
You know.
Walmart's got to build a whole ton more stores because there's going to be a lot of greeters wanted, you know.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, I'm not planning on retiring as well. You know, but I love what I do. I mean, I really do love what I
That
do.
age group.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
Where's Tina? Did she retire?
No, Tina is in Samoa, but as right now, she just texted me like a few seconds ago, and she's in Fiji on the way back towards Los Angeles. She's here's something you don't know about Tina. I bet you didn't know this. Tina's family is royalty in Samoa. Her mother has got a title from the king of Samoa. I mean, I think her mother is the Nif and Tiff of Samoa. I mean, big time stuff. So next time you have some respect for her. That's all I could say. Because she's royalty.
Careful. She's got to be careful if she photoshops her pictures then.
Yes, that's exact. I think she has. She said to me that they don't have air conditioning there. She stated she was wherever she was staying, they had no air conditioning, and she said it was hot. But she'll talk all about it if she wants next week. But that's where Tina is. And so here's the deal. So I said, Tina, you're on vacation. Enjoy yourself. Don't worry about Soundbroker. Go have a great time. She couldn't. She couldn't stop working. She said that's the only sense of enjoyment she got during the whole trip was knowing that she was able to answer emails and work. I mean, you know, so I mean, that's just a sample of the fact of what's going to happen. You know, people just don't want to stop. I mean, has anybody here in this room given it any thought? Look, Marvin is successful as could be. I mean, how many people could say that they have round doors? Look at that door behind them. That's not Photoshop, baby. That's a real round door made out of wood. Do you know how expensive that is to have? Well,
wait,
I don't want.
If you guys care to, I'll show you more round doors.
I would love it. We would love it. The round door tour.
Let me see if I can turn the camera around. There I go.
A phenomenal home. A showcase home.
Okay. David's been at my house, but
wow,
so,
look at those floors. Just look at those floors. They're so
Yeah.
clean you can eat off them.
Yeah. So a lot of these doors came from Art de Mexico, if you know the store in North Hollywood.
Wow, look at that baby grand. Is that a baby grand?
It's a Yamaha Electric player piano.
Beautiful.
And how do you like these doors?
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So
that's like Spanish design. Is that what you would call? What would you
yeah,
call
the
your
house was built in 1933.
And by any
And-
chance, is that the Hollywood Hills you live in?
It's in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
Wow.
it's a nice place. So if anybody wants to visit, you're welcome. I have lots of room.
Now, that's just exquisite. I mean, that's really beautiful. Your house is really. How long have you lived in that house, may I ask?
20 some odd years.
Yeah. And David's house is pretty amazing too. If you've ever been to
Yes.
David's house, David's house is in the Hollywood Hills, Hollywoodland. When David's out there, you could see when he's in his office and he turns the camera around, you could actually see the sign, the Hollywood Hills sign.
My house is a baby brother to Marvin's. Marvin's twice the size of my house.
Yeah, but Marvin's is in Sherman Oaks. I mean, you're in the Hollywood Hills, baby.
That's-
You are in the Hollywood Hills, David. There's no comparison.
Yeah. We both have. Well, I had a mountain lion in my neighborhood. That was pretty
Yeah,
big.
yeah, it was a famous mountain lion too. They just spent billions of dollars or millions of dollars building the overpass so that the animals could go back and forth.
Over the 101, yes.
And that was a lot was instigated by the mountain lion. When he finally died, they all said, "We got to do something about this," and so they approved it.
Yeah,
Well, and they
I
were
mean, that's,
also afraid of if the mountain lion population is isolated, they'll be inbred. So the idea is to have more diversity.
yeah, and there
I
are
could-
plenty of pets that they could eat. I mean, there's plenty of pets in that area, so they
Well,
won't
there's
have
lots
to,
of there's lots of deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what-
I mean, it's a good eco society for them. I wonder, I don't know if Kurt, you do a lot of cooking and we're talking about food, the food chain. That's one of the reasons why I don't like to go into the ocean, because the second I put one foot into the ocean, it makes me feel like I'm actually part of the food chain. And I don't like that. I just don't like that. I don't like that feeling of being part of the food chain. But having said that, one of the things that I just read, that there's a problem here with microplastics in our food.
Yeah, we're
Have you
eating
ga-
the equivalent of a credit card a month or something like that.
Yeah, 90%. That's the percentage of animal and vegetable protein samples that have tested positive for microplastics, according to a new study. These tiny polymer fractions or fragments are found in popular foods, which can pose dangers to the body organism and functions in large quantities. And yet we're ingesting all of this polyplastic stuff all the time. It's crazy. So, don't be plastic. That's all I could say. Be real. So,
I did
so
see a stat once that there's a tolerable percentage of rat feces in breakfast cereal, according to the FDA.
and not only that, there's also in hamburgers, hot dogs, any kind of mixed food that comes from chocolate. There's a certain amount of cockroach that's allowed to be in all chocolates. But hey, cockroach is a delicacy here. So don't get me started, man.
Fred looks like he's
Protein.
about to get sick.
Yeah. So sticking with you guys' neighborhood, sticking with your guys' neighborhood, how is it possible that 15 people got injured at Universal on the tram ride? I don't get that. That's insane. I've been on that tram ride so many times.
When did that
Tram
happen?
ride hit- Something happened. It hit a guardrail and it must have gone over. The funny thing is
Yeah.
Myrna was on the tram and had a great time.
Say that again, Dave.
What's that? I said Myrna was
Yeah,
just a unit.
Oh, Myrna was just there with her group.
Well, they invited us to freebies because we're in the neighborhood. So
Oh, yeah.
and it was about the tram ride. Come see our new tram ride. So
Do you
today-
remember, Dave? Do you remember? This had to be back in the '80s when we were living in Hollywood Hills, and Universal had that special pass for people who lived in the neighborhood that you could eat at the commissary.
No, they had a. I don't remember that at all. What they did do is the hotels that are up there in Universal allowed you to come and use their pool for the summer for like $300 on weekends because it was a business during the week they're sold out. On the weekends they were empty. So I used to go to the pool up on Universal for a while, but I never saw the commissary thing. That's
Yeah,
weird.
they had it. They had a card. That you had a card if you. I'm sure you had it too. I know I had it for sure. And I would used to go to eat lunch at the Universal Commissary, and I'd sit there and I'd see the people who were on the TV shows, sitting across the way from me. It was kind of cool.
I don't know anything about
Anyway,
that.
anyway,
Hold on.
so do you guys like amusement rides like this? Because if you want the ultimate experience, Saudi Arabia just added a roller coaster to their attractions. It goes 156 miles an hour, and then it drops off a cliff.
Sounds like fun.
It's the world's fastest and tallest roller coaster ride, and actually, it's going to be Six Flags Saudi Arabia. Tell you what, I'll throw this into the chat too because it's pretty cool. It's a good story. By the way, I don't know. We were talking about music earlier and how you listen to. Do you guys listen to podcasts at all?
I listened to Preet Bharara.
Okay, so if you listen to podcasts, you have a podcast player. My favorite one is called Overcast. It's on, it's really it's an excellent podcast player, and that's how I catch most of my shows that I listen to when I'm driving in the car or I'm walking on whatever. Anyway, there is a now an app, excuse me, that if you see an article in the newspaper, you could copy and paste it into this app and it turns it into a podcast for you. So you could listen to it on your favorite podcast player rather than read it. And I will send that. It's called listenlater.net, but I'll also send that link to you guys.
It's a text to voice.
Yeah, basically what you do is you find the article you want to read, and you send the link to this place, and it puts it into voice. It's amazing. I tried it a few times, and it's flawless. It doesn't make a mistake. It really transcribes the words into English, and you could listen to it. And one of the things that I like to do when I listen to podcasts, excuse me, and the reason why I like podcasts and YouTube so much is that I can watch it at faster speeds. Now, unfortunately, that's not fun for anybody else that's with you unless they're used to it, because everything sounds like a chipmunk. But you get to watch twice as much in that same period of time because you're watching it at twice the speed. Sometimes I can only do it 1.5, But what you'll find is that once you start listening to that, like, for example, I listen to NPR hourly newscast when I want to catch the news. And when I listen to it in real time, I want to say, come on, speed it up. You're talking way too slow. I can't believe how slow they're talking. And so, but when I listen to it, and that you could listen to at 1.75, and it still sounds like normal talk, so just an FYI. Just thought I'd throw that in. But check the link out if you ever want, you see something, and even if you don't want to put it on your podcast player, you're sitting at your desk and you just want it in the background rather than read it while you do something else. It's a good thing.
How does that go again, Jan? When you play it back?
In other words, when you play something back, you have a choice of speed.
I know. I understand.
He wants you to do the impression again.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you need an algorithm to pitch correct it back down to real pitch. So it's faster, but it's time compressed.
Yeah, this guy Marco Arman, he has done that with Overcast to a point. If you and it's a free app, so but you could support him if you want. But Marco Arman has done that. He's also taken out spaces between the words. I don't know how he's done it, but he's a lot smarter than me, and plus he's probably good with math. And I bet you didn't know that. That's for sure. So
They've been doing the
there you
spaces
go.
between words thing in commercials for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The disclaimer, they take out all of the space between it, all the breathing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The legal disclaimer at the very end.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's going to happen when that roller coaster gets stuck out in the middle there? Did you watch that video? About halfway through it, you're probably 2 miles away from where you took off, and you're down. You have a potential of not making it up that one side. What happens
Well, if
when
that's
you
the
stuck
case,
out?
Fred, don't go skiing in the Alps. That's all I could say.
Looks like a cool roller coaster, but it doesn't
Yeah.
stay around where it started. It's if that one doesn't make it over, because that happens at what's the one down at Cedar Point, the dragster one. It doesn't make it up the thing sometimes, and it comes back down.
You become part of the food chain then.
Yeah. They throw ocean water on you at that point in time as well. So there you go.
In Saudi Arabia, ocean water?
Yeah, there's no water. You're out in the desert. That's why I'm asking it.
Well, then how can you be part of the food chain? That's all I could say. There's no water.
How are they gonna rescue you? You're out in the sand dunes.
Well, it's like that old joke about those two guys are hiking, and one gets bitten by the snake in his private part, and he, and the punchline of that joke is, "You're gonna die." That's it. That's the joke. If you haven't heard that joke, I'm not going to repeat it right now. I am sure everybody in this room has heard that joke.
Fred, haven't you seen Star Wars, the third Star Wars? Where Princess Leia got rescued in the desert? R2-D2 would show up for you.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you whatever you're paying, it's worth it. That's all I could say. They basically give you the disclaimer that by paying for this ride, you're gonna die possibly. So, but enjoy yourself. It's worth the money. That's it. It's worth the money.
But they do that quickly without any breathing between the words.
Yeah, that's it. They do it very quickly without the blah blah blah
But
blah blah.
if you patch in the pitch control, you're going to have 96 seconds of 96 milliseconds of delay there, though.
That's right. Careful, Greg, or you'll have to put money in the tip jar pretty soon.
Yeah, I didn't say the word.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, you came close. You inferred it.
I did see an ad. Somebody is building little tiny mini toy
Speakers?
No, it just has LEDs all around it. You can program the LED to have your own little mini facility.
It should have a speaker in it so that it'll has the sound go with it.
And a delay.
Now the one I saw was just it was just all lights, no sound, which is basically
but
an accurate description.
Should have the lights and the sound not be anywhere in sync with each other. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
All lights, no sound. That sounds like a lot of gigs I've had to do lately.
Where's Kristen?
Uh-oh. What happened?
No, I'm just tired of all the lighting guys. They don't light. I don't know if you've noticed. They don't light the performer anymore. They shine the lights at the audience. Like
Well, it's like all these stadiums. That's all these stadiums that are putting in this LED lighting. I mean, we've been apparently the D-backs just got lights for this season. But yeah, we go on our college football tour. It's so disheartening to we gotta somehow convince our director that when the guy scores a touchdown, don't cut to the guy who scored the play because you're not going to see him. They always turn the lights off. Just cut to the wide shot, wait for the pop and circumstance to get done, and then go find the guy.
Well, everything this show is proving right now. They just did a huge research program. I think it was at Stanford. I'm not really sure, but they say that the brain is always creating new brain cells, but most of the time we only use 5% of 95% of the brain. And this show definitely proves that. And so do the lighting people. Anyway, who else got something else that they want to talk about? And then we'll say goodbye to those people out on Real World live streaming, and then we'll just stay amongst ourselves and talk about the real important things that we don't want to talk about with anybody else.
If anybody gets a chance, go listen to Robert's show. It's quite impressive. I wouldn't tell him
What
that
show is
on
that?
his thing.
What show is that, Greg?
At Chesney. Kenny
Where is
Chesney. This week they're in Minneapolis.
Oh, in other words, okay, so he's mixing Kenny Chesney, and so you're saying if you get a chance, go see the concert.
Yeah. Go hear the concert.
Go hear the
you can
concert.
see it too, but well, you can't help but see it. But
Well, I've always said it like this, when you go to a concert, you always say, "Hey, I'm going to see, somebody." You never go to say, "Hey, I'm going to go hear them," But sometimes they will say, I saw Kenny and he sounded great, But what a light show, man! What a light show! Whoa, the light show, So our job is thankless, I mean, the only time that, we all know this, the only time that we get written up is when it's bad sound,
It was
That's
just at the Trump trial, the judge was criticizing the sound and they had to redo the sound in the courtroom.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. Oh, as a matter of fact, so first, we're fixing the air conditioner, the sound system. Oh, and by the way, one more word from you, you shouldn't, you'll be spending some time in jail. All right, let's move on. Yeah, it's crazy. We're living in such a crazy time that, yesterday I'm in the city of Wahin, and I am at a store called Big C, which is basically equivalent to a Kmart, a small Kmart. And I'm over by the chicken section, and we're picking out chicken. And this guy who was also he was from England, I believe, and he turns to me and he says, "What's going on in your country?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, and then he's, and then we started talking. I mean, immediately talking about what's going on the college campuses today, which is, and where Marvin and David live right now, it seems to be the worst of them all. I don't quite understand why LA would be, why UCLA would be the college campus of choice for violence. I mean, it's mostly, what's the I know it. Well, let's not go there because I'm sure it's politically incorrect to say what it used to mean when you would say you'd go to UCLA, but privileged children. So, but it's a shame.
That was USC, the University of Spoiled Children.
Oh, there you go. That's it. No.
Yeah, I'm going to UCLA tomorrow actually to work with the Children's Hospital for the first time. We're going to be doing something with lymph nodes as opposed to cardiovascular stuff. So I get to learn something tomorrow.
Are you going to be
very, very good?
But understand something. There's the one area where the action is very small. The rest of the campus is working and fine. And what happened last night were there demonstrators, and then there were counter demonstrators, and that's when the violence broke out.
That's supposedly at the administration building.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing now from what I'm, good, Greg.
Were on, excuse me, Jim. While we've been talking, they had a thing on TV here where they took it was a national TV show, and they took a guy out in that crowd where that particular us versus them situation happened, and he started asking people, do you go to the university? Are you a student? And 70% of the people weren't students.
Yeah, that's the problem in a lot of
instigators.
these situations where it's outside agitators.
Yeah. Look, I'll go on record right now in saying, look, what happened in Israel I think it was October 7th. There is no justification for what they did and for the amount of people that they hurt and killed, and the fact that they are still holding hostages, and how anybody could think, well, I can understand. Look, Israel is in there right now, and they're fighting for their existence because Hamas has only one objective, and that is to end the existence of Israel. And so they are in this area where nobody wants the people. Egypt's got the biggest border with them, and they won't let any of these people into their country. Egypt refuses to let them into the country. And yet Israel goes in to fight to get back these hostages and to just, I mean, they've been brutally massacred, women raped, children executed, burned, all of this the horrors of life. And these people who are in Hamas are hiding amongst their population. They're not fighting like men. They're fighting like rats. They're embedded with the people. So how can Israel go in there and not kill people that are around them? These innocent people should really basically say, hey, look, get out. We don't want you here. And if they're going to get killed, at least they get killed standing up for what they believe rather than being killed by accident, by forces. But they're not doing that. So it's a no-win situation for anybody. This is a lose situation. And no matter what happens, the outcome of what these people wanted is not going to be. It's just not going to happen. And I feel sorry for everybody involved, and it's involving everyone, because no matter where you go now, people are talking about it. So does anybody have any comments on that? And just right now, by the way, nobody's watching this anymore because even though we've been on an hour, so even I can't watch it this long in reruns.
Stop the recording, Jan. It's still recording.
What? Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, who's going to be listening to this for an hour? I mean, if you're watching this stuff right now, if you're still watching us live streaming, then you really have no life. But then you should be on the panel. That's all I can say. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's call it. Anybody have anything to say before we go off the air? Anybody?
Goodbye.
Well, anybody want to wish me a happy birthday? I bet you didn't know
Happy
that.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Jan.
No singing allowed. I think to me, that's the most embarrassing thing that could happen to you, is that you're sitting in a restaurant, you're minding your own business, the lights go down, and everybody in the restaurant starts singing happy birthday to you. I hate it.
Singing happy birthday on Zoom doesn't work.
Yeah, thank God it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Anyway, just remember, everything you heard today is an opinion. Do your own research. This has been the 206th episode of Thinking Out Loud with Friends. Today is May 1st. By the way, if you haven't done the maypole dance today, you don't know what you're missing. Get out there and maypole. That's all I could say. Wayne, do they have maypole down there as well?
Nope.
All right, well, we'll explain to you what it means. All right, later. All right. Bye, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, you make it happen. So do your thing and make it happen. Until then, till next week, bye for now. And we are off the air.
So what's my